Welcome back to the WatchTower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Towercast Network by cinephiles for cinephiles. Welcome back to Spooky Month. Love it. Can you see all the great decorations these men have brought together? These grown men.
Wow.
You're never too old to decorate, man.
That's true. That's true.
Honestly,
my house looks like a Disney Wonderland, so what am I saying?
My father, who I love very much.
Very much these days.
Who I've seen in multiple facets. Loves to decorate for the holidays.
Hey,
What was-
hey.
What?
Yo no tengo nada. ¿Quieres mi reloj?
Oh, okay. How about instead you join us for the podcast?
Mira, hay una birria, ¿qué onda?
Welcome back.
Woo!
We have.
Oh, shotgun it with a knife.
Oh God!
First of all,
A knife. Let's state that really quick. It's not a knife.
it's not a knife.
Wait,
we're gonna give you guys.
It's not.
It's a shaving knife.
Okay.
No, it's a comb.
It can still do
No,
damage.
it's a shaving knife.
Yeah, look.
Oh.
It is a knife.
It's straight up a knife.
But it's a flat knife. We have
Well, hold
live
on.
with
Let's
us.
give the audience 10 seconds just to guess who this guy is.
Yeah.
Sandra.
Yeah, that was my first
The one
guess.
and only. Oh, sweetheart.
Dude.
I feel like that's how she walks into the bedroom, right?
And the grand
Someday.
reveal.
Carlos.
Give me your wallet and your keys.
Who is under the
¿Qué onda,
mask?
perro?
¿Qué tranza, güey?
¿Qué te importa, güey?
That's a sad.
Ah,
un
yeah.
poquito de
Quítate la
sed.
máscara, güey, para que puedas tomar tu birria.
No saben quién eres, güey.
A ver.
Little face reveal?
Face
reveal.
reveal.
Face reveal.
Tower exclusive face reveal for people watching on YouTube. Subscribe now.
We have Mr. Eric Sanchez joining us today.
You know, our
resident horror expert in the Tower
Were you
Productions.
trying to only take one of them off and then they both came off?
No, I know.
No,
I think
no,
you're
I was
good.
about to tell him to take one off and now you're already doing it.
Estamos cabrón.
Welcome.
What's up, man?
Oh,
What's
¿qué
the good
tranza?
word?
Tranza.
Yeah,
Panza.
it's fucking Halloween season, so I'm
Halloween,
excited.
spooky season.
And then you-
Eric's going to be trying to join us for every episode. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us for the Rosemary's Baby episode. But
Work sucks. So
this film, the one we're going to talk about, oddly enough, has a weird little connection to Rosemary's Baby, which I'll get into here shortly. But first, to introduce my fellow co-host, Mr. Michael Lalal, offering a cinematography perspective,
Well, howdy, fellers.
making the best coffee fucking ever.
Is that a new hat?
greatest coffee ever.
Love you, man.
Please, questions after.
I love you.
It's
It's a Shermie hat.
I think I told you guys, like, I went downtown, which is right outside.
It is.
And there's one of those little shops where they have, like, a bunch of hats for super cheap, like, and it's kind of sketchy. But then they also had patches, and, with my limited Spanish, I remember going up to the hat guy, and, like, I grabbed the patch, and I grabbed the hat, and I was like, puedes,
Yo
you
quiero.
know? And he was like, $1? And I'm like, I can speak that. All right. And then he just like popped it on, and I love it. Yeah.
Nice.
For $1? Shit, I like it even more.
Exactly. For $1, just slap them on.
But you paid for the patch separately, and the hat separately,
So the
and then he
patch
just
is
charged
$2. The
Oh,
hat's
see,
$6.
that changes everything, bro.
Dude, I paid like
You have to
got robbed.
understand, this man
Yeah.
returned a chocolate bar from a kid inside an Applebee's when he didn't like what the kid was selling. I'm
Yeah.
saying,
What?
I witnessed
Oh
this.
my God. it is,
I
bro.
calls them like I seen them.
I seen it.
That's cool. I like that hat. Though.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun.
Mr. John Eric Oster offering an acting perspective here.
Gallo.
And he's showing off the
He's
legs.
showing off them
I
dancer's
know.
legs.
Dang.
It's been a
Fucking
couple.
quads, man.
Dude,
God
if he spreads
damn.
any more, I think I'm going to see too much of Castro, you know?
Crush my fucking head. Oh, dang.
Hey, stay tuned. You never know.
It's Tower After Dark. Right?
Director's
So those
cut.
videos with the people that have the watermelon between their legs, that was Castro.
That was Castro right there.
I can tell by the mark.
It's an Olympic sport now.
These thighs, bro.
These thighs.
These thighs.
Cry every night.
And Mr. Austin Young, make sure we're sounding good on the ones and twos back there. Unfortunately, has no microphone, but he does have a cam mic, so you still can talk.
Oh, because this guy stole his mic.
Nah,
Nah,
bullshit.
come on. Why do
you
you
have a
guys-
cam mic. Introduce yourself. Say hi.
Bro,
Wave into the camera. You can do whatever. There you go.
well, we could
There we go.
subtitle it, dude.
Oh,
and our
God.
special guest today, as introduced a little bit earlier, Mr. Eric L. Sanchez.
Is he
Wait.
still gonna mug us?
I hope so. Probably
We'll
after
see
the
if this
episode.
episode goes well, then
We'll let it go.
If there's an opinion
Writer,
on
director
like,
extraordinaire, and our kind of resident horror expert here in
Absolutely.
Tower.
Oh,
This man is an
wait.
encyclopedia of horror.
Who also recently showed a film at the film.
Oh,
He did. We
yeah.
showed Night
Yeah.
Dread, which also has a great role in Mr. John Eric Castro.
Yeah, kicking the shit out of something.
Yeah, kicking the fucking
I
living
get my
shit
ass
out.
kicked and killed and burnt and
it's probably my
Dipped
favorite
into
kill.
acid.
Did you get bruised up?
Yeah, you got a
No,
big ass
no,
bruise
yeah,
after
we-
that.
yeah, because of the
The
what was
can.
the barrel
The
The
barrel.
barrel.
and from just being
And we
dunked too
kept
much.
that shot
because
because
you
he
That
Like,
hits
shot was
himself.
great because you hit yourself on the head
For
on the way
real,
down.
for
Like,
real.
actually,
I remember we did a few takes and you would just slide off and then you were like, no, I gotta make it look authentic.
Exactly.
And you like slammed your body into it and then afterwards like nicked your chin and just like collapsed on the floor.
I don't need a stunt double, bro.
No, that was awesome. That's my favorite kill in the movie.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Special effects and everything.
yeah. We had, similar to this cauldron here, we had some mist over the barrel and like...
It just happened to be that cold.
It just happened to be that cold.
Yeah, it happened to be that cold, and it was just causing that
Oh, really?
effect.
Oh yeah, because I remember it was like freezing and that's why we were like trying to get blankets and towels on you.
yeah,
because
yeah.
we like
We were like
poured-
on standby with
Yeah,
yeah,
blankets
like
and
we
shit,
had like
yeah.
hot water that we poured in, but it just instantly started steaming up and then
I was like, I got it, but by the second take, I was like, nah, guys.
no, and then they used what is it called? Fun little horror trick is like antacid tablets, like the
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because
Yeah.
people keep asking him about that. I'm like, I don't know, man. My special effects department.
It was just the antacid, and then you put the powder there, and then right before we're gonna film it, they just spray your face
Yeah,
with water so it like
exactly.
sizzles. And
There we go. Yeah.
for all you special effects people,
I'm trying to look at the
which this film actually has a lot of
fun practical
effects. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the most practical we got away with, and a no budget film basically.
yeah.
No
It was a lot of fun.
budget.
I mean,
All of our films are kinda no budget.
No. He's talking about
no, but talk
Oh,
about
Night Dread. About
yeah.
Night Dread.
Whoa, where did that
Yeah.
money fucking go to?
Yeah.
Man?
I know. I didn't get paid.
I didn't get fucking paid.
I got paid nicely.
We're
Action.
the fucking monitor, dude. It's the one I'm bidding
See,
on.
you
It's-
guys are too
Oh,
addicted
wait,
to that
wait,
shit.
wait,
We're
wait.
doing a
Wow.
podcast.
It's because you know what happened? I opened my phone to like Google something from the movie.
Sure.
No, genuinely, and then
Oh, you get a little
that
ding
little
like-
ding.
Sure.
That I didn't know that the ding. My phone's on silent, so I didn't know that the ding
Oh, and the
was
ding
gonna,
says like you've been outbid. And
Yes. I'm like,
"Aw."
fuck! It's fucking $51 now. I'm not gonna bid on that anymore.
It's a 2K.
Chili
You're like,
ganas.
oh, also, our humble film servant, Mr. Carlos M. Del
Oh,
Torre.
yeah.
Offering a writing directing perspective. We're gonna be talking about Sam Raimi's 1981, The Evil Dead. This was Mr. Eric's pick. In tradition, every year Austin gives up his horror pick for Eric because Eric will genuinely pick something fucking
Shoot.
cool for us.
That's scary.
And he cracks open the beer.
And he puts it right next to the mic.
Why don't you do that to me?
Austin right away. Whoa.
It's gonna get wicked in here.
The Evil Dead, man.
The Evil Dead, Sam Raimi's. I'd never seen it. Most of us, I think, had never seen it. All of us?
Samesies.
I haven't seen it.
No,
None of us had seen it, so
I'm so glad we did though. That was such a good time.
campy B horror
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is, man.
Like I was sorry for all you audio listeners. No, like I was saying during the movie, I was a big fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000. So like all these B horror movies that like you can laugh at them and you can make fun of them all you want, but you have
Right.
to give them credit that they just were so creative
Absolutely.
in creating like a world and all the special effects and
Yeah.
everything that they do. Like, sure, you know, like say what you want about it, but I don't think you could have more fun with the movie.
yeah.
Would you call it practical effects? These are not
Oh,
special
absolutely.
effects, right?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean
No,
special
they're
effects.
special effects.
Special effects are practical.
Special
Practical
effects is on-
effects.
it's on
nowadays it's
screen.
different.
Special effects can be digital or practical, but the over-encompassing title is special
I
effects.
think
Okay.
visual special effects they are digitized.
Right.
That's how I-
VFX, visual
VFX, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But special effects could be either or.
It's just-
technically.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big theme
and
of this
it's
one.
really impressive because this was Sam Raimi's first feature film, as Eric was telling us during the screening.
And we
crazy.
could tell.
And I'll kick it off this way, and then we can get into ratings and stuff. But a
Yeah.
$350,000 budget. Technically, that's not the most accurate figure. At least it's the all-in number. He had 90,000 to produce it, and he basically was scraping up funds to finish the film.
Isn't it usually how it is? Like they
To
pass
an
over
extent,
and they're like,
yeah.
"Oh, we need more budget."
Yeah, to an extent. So like, I mean, he went. I genuinely like want to disaster artist this film, I want to make a film about the making of this film because of the amount of stories of the making
that'd
of
be
is
interesting.
fucking insane. Like it's actually really impressive what he was able to pull off, considering half of the crew left the production. It was
Really?
cold as balls, and they didn't prepare for any of that.
Yeah.
They slept in the cabin that they shot in.
It's a real cabin that
It's
they
a
found.
real abandoned cabin, and they found the property owner, and the property owner was like, "You guys can use it, as long as you leave it the same way." And they really built additionally was the fireplace.
The fireplace.
That was the only thing that didn't exist, and it's the only thing that survived. The cabin ended up being torn down or burned down. There's a lot of fun urban legends. One of
Right.
them is that Sam Raimi set it on fire after you finished
After he
production.
finished.
So
That's a
there's
cool
there's
one.
no official confirmation, but there's a lot of stories like that. But
So I'm assuming in the second one that cabin's no more.
I haven't seen the second one, so
No,
I'm
in
assuming
the second one they got a bigger budget.
They got a bigger
so-
budget.
Okay.
It's
Thanks
all
to-
on sound stages and
Thanks to
shit.
Irvin something. I forget the name of the producer. But what's interesting about the making of too is that Bruce Campbell, he's accredited as a co-producer because him and Sam Raimi grew up together. They were friends growing up. They
They
would
were
make
friends
films
from like college and
no, since they were 8 years old, and they would make
so
Super 8
they go way
films
back
together. Yeah,
because like I know Ted Raimi, they're also
brother, yeah.
really, and then I think there's a third Raimi brother. Like I think I don't know if he worked on this film.
I just read that Sam Raimi, Ted Raimi, and Bruce Campbell all grew up together.
Yeah.
And basically, Bruce Campbell became the actor of the group, and they would make little Super 8 films running around as kids together.
I
And then they
wonder
get
if
to
they're still around.
college, start taking themselves a little more
Yeah, because
seriously.
like they made Evil Dead was based on a short film they made.
yeah.
And I forgot what it's called. I think it was called
Ash versus
Cabin
Evil.
No, it was called the wood, something the woods, in the woods or something like that.
in the woods.
Get
Yeah,
wood.
but it's like 20-minute short film. I think.
Really?
I
Yeah,
don't remember. I've
It's
been-
actually a cool idea because Sam Raimi was one of the first guys to make a short film as a proof of concept.
Right.
So he would get investors because he would show them the short film.
So he's the one that kind of started that.
He wasn't the one that's Within the Woods. It's called Within the Woods.
Within the Woods.
He wasn't the one that started it. That's actually where it says. So like Within the Woods was made to be this calling card to show to investors and say, hey, we can make a feature. Check out what we did with no money for a short. They shot it in black and white, on black and white film, 16 millimeter film. So what's cool is that I like the story about Bruce Campbell kind of growing up with them because it reminds me a lot about Castro. Bruce Campbell was the type of actor that just like hung out. Like everybody would bounce. When the crew said, fuck this, Bruce Campbell stuck around and helped Sam finish the film.
Nice.
And on top of that, not only did he help him finish, he mortgaged his fucking house just so that Bruce Campbell
That's
mortgaged his house
trust, man.
so that
That's
he could
believing.
finish the picture.
That's faith.
But, they had a lot of vetted interest, and what put them over the top was that they showed this film, somehow showed it to Stephen King.
Yeah.
Stephen King got word of this, and he screened it, and he loved it, and wrote an amazing review for them. And that's
Yeah.
what pushed them over the top for the film to
Yeah.
get distribution. And they would even use Stephen King's quote, like on the posters and the video cassette covers and
Yeah,
shit
it's
like
marketing,
that.
man.
So they did good, and I forget the name of the producer. Rob Tapper was one of them, but Irv something was a guy kind of responsible for them even changing the name. The original title of this film was The Book
Book of the
Book
Dead
of the
or
Dead.
something.
Book of the
Yeah.
Dead. So which Irvin Shapiro was like, this is a dumb fucking title. We're changing it. And Sam Raimi gave him a list of titles, and he's like, The Evil Dead was the one that sucked the least. So that's why we went with The Evil
Oh
Dead.
my god.
And now it's like this fucking big ass
Yeah,
fucking
it's
name.
called Classic, and
It spawned
and
all these like
that's
sequels.
why the
and-
sequel got a bigger budget because
Oh, yeah.
they sold it to New Line Cinemas. New Line Cinema picked it up. This is rated as one of the films that has the most video rental records.
Yeah, it's one
Like,
of those
yeah.
that had like a lot of success in video rentals. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's like a party movie. You
Yeah.
invite a bunch of friends over, have some drinks,
fucking throw it on.
snacks, and
how I was
throw that
watching
movie in
it.
the background. Like everyone's just laughing and like, oh god, grossing out at all the special effects.
Speaking of the premiere, by the way, that I say that it has a connection to Rosemary's Baby because Sam Raimi was inspired by William Castle. William Castle, we talked about being one of the producers on Rosemary's Baby.
Right.
If you know William Castle, you know that he's a B horror director, B and C horror director.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a shtick. And he was notorious for at premieres using a marketing bit of having ambulances on standby. Just having the ambulances
good
at the
marketing.
theater.
Yeah.
So Sam Raimi at the premiere of Evil Dead had ambulances there just to fucking
Wow.
sell the
Hey.
film, So yeah,
Like in case it was
in case it was too much.
Especially in the 80s, they're going to believe that shit.
Dude, I feel like there's so many of those great marketing techniques
Yeah.
we don't really see anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But I mean that really came across because of The Exorcist, right? The Exorcist kicks in. people were like, oh, it's too much. It's fucking gory and it's this and that. And people were passing out in the theaters. And it's like, oh, I'm going to use that, right? So this is where that comes from. But The Evil Dead, sitting at a NC-17 rating, there's so many cool things about like the release of this picture because Germany banned it for fucking
UK.
ever.
UK, right?
No, it was Germany.
UK.
Germany banned it for... basically, up until 2016, this film had a ban in Germany.
Oh,
It's been bad for how long?
It was weird. It took
Why?
a step.
Like,
So like 1980 came around, they showed it for a year in Germany, and they were like, "No, we're not going to show this shit. It's bad." And then bootlegs would go around in Germany, right? And then they took it to like 1990s, and then they let it go. They're like, "It's fine." And then another year passed. They're like, "No, never mind. We regret it. Take it off." And then 2001 rolls around. They released the unrated DVD. It sticks around for a little bit, and they're like, "Nah, we're still not ready for this shit." And then doesn't get re-released like out of the ban until 2016.
Like even by the 90s, like all right, come
Right.
on, like you know, like
There's been so much worse shit.
Europe, and I think Australia has been some of the weirdest countries where like they like no, you gotta cut like at least-
China too. China's actually one of the ones that bans.
Remember
films.
with Zack and Miri? Make a pointer. They banned it from Utah.
From Utah?
From Utah. Yeah.
Why? Because of Mormons?
I guess so.
Okay.
But
Even though
but it
the
happens.
Sundance Film Festival that shows just crazy shit
It happens.
has been happening there. Okay.
and then we get crazier shit now. Like,
yeah. So Germany, Germany banned it.
Why'd they ban it? It was just too much.
They categorized-
I think it was just too gory, and it might have been the rape
So in the
scene.
UK, it says
See, I told you.
it was trimmed by 49 seconds, but it was banned
Oh, shit.
in Germany. Couldn't show it anywhere. I saw that on IMDb though. So, but yeah.
Video nasty.
Yeah, that's what
video
that was the
nasties.
label that they would put it. You know
Yeah,
how
and
parental
that's
advisory.
in Europe.
that's
They
how
would do
put
the
for
video
movies.
nasties.
Oh my god.
And it was
Video
basically all
nasty.
these crazy B horror films. They were just too gory, too much shock value, and,
know, and
and that's a lot of the movies I own.
Rightfully so. The cool thing is like the
That's what makes
distributor
you
when they would
an
distribute
encyclopedia of
it,
this.
they didn't need an MPA at the time. It was MPAA rating. So like, despite the fact that the MPAA gave it an NC-17 rating, for instance, part of the reason why they used white on the like vomit for those scenes is so that they wouldn't get an X rating.
Yeah.
That was part of it. Yeah.
But the
Instead
blood
of like
stains-
green and blood and stuff, it would have been too much, right? So they would use the white just to make it less
that just
gory.
doesn't make sense.
That's
but yeah.
real.
That's dude
I
for
get
crying
it.
out loud. They had
But
to
it dates back to like Taxi Driver too. Like, well,
Desaturate the blood, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It's too red. Like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. Or like
So
a lot of
it's
times you see
ridiculous.
it that it looks like almost like black
Black.
on his
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
because
about to
like
say.
back
Sludge.
then, like the MPAA hated red.
Yeah,
like anything
yeah.
that was too red,
Yeah.
too much blood. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, so they did that, got an NC-17 rating, but the distributor, I forget the name of the company, when they were putting it on VHSs, it didn't matter because contractually they don't have to put a rating on the covers. So they would just say unrated. And they wouldn't get in trouble with the MPAA. They'd get a rating, and
Little
that's
loophole.
where, not through this movie exclusively, but that's where the unrated factor came out as like, oh
look
shit,
at that. Hey, that's pretty cool.
Now it's used for raunchy shit, right? Or at least our generation used it for American Pie unrated or whatever,
It's
right?
still being
no,
used.
yeah, this to have like Rob Zombie's Halloween unrated version,
Yeah.
And like I remember as a kid, I would always rent unrated films because like, nah, that's gonna show me more shit. It's
Yeah?
gonna show me more tits. It's gonna show me more blood. But
And
like,
this one certainly does. So for that,
Yeah.
what do we got for ratings? What do we
Well, I
rate?
think
Bro,
this
I
movie?
haven't even
if
flirted with the
Eric's-
ratings.
Yeah, it's your film, so you get to pick who goes first.
I'm very
And-
curious. No. Like, so I want to start with Austin first. I want to see what
He's gonna have to
rating
do
is.
sign language and stuff.
No.
His cam mic is on. It's 2 feet from him. He
I'm
can
not
talk.
gonna cut to a camera. I can just sound like shit.
No, it's not. Go.
Fucking give me a hand signal or something.
Just write it down on a paper and then.
I'm sorry, you're gonna do
So
what
what
to your dog?
Home run.
Hey.
So just hit it.
Get it? Because the Yankees played yesterday.
Nah,
And Daniel was at the game.
He's happy right now
What
because
the hell?
Arizona
Tally was at
won.
the
Oh my
Yankees
God.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what to give it either, man.
I'm still thinking too.
Yeah, dude.
So,
I
come on,
don't-
so
I,
give
I
me-
don't know.
Thinking.
Oh, okay.
I'm in like.
And Delal's right. Last episode we talked about how last year we talked about giving it a horror rating and a film rating, but we kind of did away with that for this round.
It's because it's really hard to give horror movies a rating because like they kind of rate it in its own genre.
That's
But-
I agree.
That's
but, like-
that's why we did
but no,
the two
that's-
ratings.
I think it's fair. Let's give it like a.
Let's give it 2 ratings. Okay,
All right.
Rosemary's Baby was the exception. Sorry, Rosemary's Baby is cinema and is horror.
yeah.
And it's
Hereditary next week.
We'll find
yeah,
it.
that
We'll
one.
talk about that
No,
next
I
week.
think I think that's a good conversation because I feel like with Rosemary's Baby and like with Hereditary, they're not going to be the scariest films you watch.
Yeah.
Because it's not meant to be overly jump scary, but
Was Rosemary's Baby the start of elevated horror?
nah.
Psychological.
Wait, when did Rosemary's Baby come out?
1968.
79. Her.
68.
68.
I think
68.
And then
Hitchcock.
when did Psycho come out? At 68 as well, or 69?
68.
I thought it was Psycho that. No, well, you might be right. You might be right. you
That
might be right.
era, right? I
You
mean,
might be right.
elevated
It might-
horror was
it-
cinema,
It
right?
might have been
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby that kind of like
We have a rating.
7.
7
All right, that's
points.
solid, Yeah.
Horror film, yeah.
7
As a
solid.
horror film, a 7. Okay.
A soft 7?
Canada film.
So we're
It's
not
a
giving
firm.
cinema. We're giving cinema ratings.
Nah, not for this.
Okay, horror. We're just giving a horror film rating. Where does it sit on the scale of
I
horror?
read some things that it had some cinema qualities to me.
Did it?
I mean,
Okay.
they used the camera.
Which froze, by the way. That was that fucking cold that the camera froze on production. They had to thaw it out next to the fucking
Really?
fireplace. Yeah, the wiring and the camera. They had to fucking thaw it out. Yeah, cameras were built different then. These pipsqueak little things couldn't stand the cold.
But I mean,
Dude, these come with heaters
Dude,
and shit.
fucking red cameras and Aries at the beginning of their like inception, they had to put ice packs on them when shooting in the sun because if not, they'd fucking shut off. They'd overheat.
but
Yeah.
with this one, like, where did the 350 come? Like, where did it go?
Film. They shot on 16 millimeter film.
Oh,
Part
okay.
of
Now I
why
didn't know
Bruce
that.
Campbell
But that's not all
put
of it.
up his house is so they could blow it up into 35 millimeter film, which is the format we're seeing.
Oh wow!
It
But
was
all
shot on 16. Shot on 16
Oh
color
my
film.
god!
Wow.
So they use money to blow that shit up. That shit's expensive, you know,
Yeah,
35 mil.
7?
7. We got a 7 horror
A
rating.
firm 7.
Sounds solid.
Fair. What direction we go on, or who you picking next?
No.
The Laos.
Cinematography.
Well, wait, horror.
Cinema.
Give me the horror one
Seems like that's
first.
the route we're taking.
No, I still want to hear like the cinema one. Like,
Okay,
'cause
All right.
it's fair.
5 for cinema.
That's
All right,
fine.
5 for cinema.
For
Okay, you got
horror-
a good attitude, so we're good.
Horror is an
I know
8.5.
it's
8.5.
8.5.
that's
I
fine.
feel
Horror?
like yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, no, because I feel like when it comes to horror,
You're a what?
what?
You're a whore.
Horror, I barely even know her.
You used to laugh at those jokes.
I gave him the face.
I'm gonna zoom in on that.
I like for horror. I just feel like it had all the elements. If anything, I'm thinking things that could have made it stronger, or maybe like incorporating. There were some moments that you felt like they were kind of wasted on the jump scares, but then also it was so oversaturated in these like tension building moments, and there's a lot of merit there that you really didn't know when
could build
something
the
was.
tension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know when something was going to pop out, and I think from the very get go, he was always like, "I want you to feel like." Even with the camera moving everywhere, you never know where you're going to be next as an audience
Yeah.
member. So you don't know when something's going to pop up, and that's
And it's
why I
contained,
think
right? It's so contained that
Yeah.
it's almost more impressive because sure, you have the woods.
Yeah.
But like the camera was within 4 walls and you still didn't know where you were going to
no,
end up.
and that's the thing. You're completely disoriented, and
Yeah.
he really played into that. So yeah, I feel like it had a lot of those good elements.
What did the DP do? Did he do anything after this, the DP? I'm just curious. I mean, I
Okay,
wonder.
just-
No, genuinely. We discovered that the one for Rosemary's Baby didn't do much, right? I think, or one of the other last films we did. Tim Philo, Evil Dead 2, of course.
Okay.
Sam Raimi's early shorts. Okay, so he was kind of Sam Raimi's guy.
Okay, just like
So
early,
he stopped making films in 93. Okay.
with the Dutch master.
Oh, never mind. 2002. Little Sammy Davis, a short.
Little Sammy Davis.
Damn, he didn't. He just didn't keep going with it, huh? Okay.
Actor, he was an actor.
Interesting. Okay. Fair enough.
For Simama, it's a
Sam
6.
probably got just somebody
6 for
better.
Simama.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not
He was
gonna.
a producer on a short last year.
Cool.
That's cute. No, I
Shut up. If he would have been a producer on Eric
Dude, that
Short,
would've
he
been-
would have
that would've
lost
been
his
fucking
shit.
fangirly, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I feel like what is it called for Simba? They incorporated like a lot of different art styles. Like they knew that they could play with stop motion. They knew
Yeah.
that they could play with like dark shots. That there was a few in there that looked really really cool. Like even though I thought it was a little over the top when they're in the car and the car stops and he kind of gets out very casually and is like, well, I guess we got to go back. And she starts freaking out in front of the headlights. Like that shot's really cool because
Is that the tilt one?
no. It's
no,
straight
no.
up when she's just like on the floor and she's like, "No, the force isn't gonna let us get out of
it's
here."
what- it's that you
And
get
It's
that
the
jump
wide
scare.
from the top or like
No,
the,
no,
in the
no.
middle.
No,
No,
it's,
it's in
that
front.
jump scare, like where like she's like getting out there looking for Ash.
Oh, and then he comes from the
yeah,
side.
it comes out.
Which one is it then?
And then you
I'm
cut
trying to
a-
tell you. No. It's after Ash is back. They're both back at the car. She's in front of the headlights and she's like hitting the floor and everything like that. Like, no, they're not gonna leave. And he's trying to like console her and get her back in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that part. But like, I don't know if you could pull up that
Yeah, no, if
shot.
only we had an intern.
But those shots were really cool.
Whoa, dude.
Those shots were really cool. I felt like it had a lot of that going for it. Definitely a lot of moments that didn't feel super intentional, just because they were very like, just maybe they put too much into it. They didn't know what to do with it. So for those parts, I mean, I'll knock it back. Also, like, you know, there's some parts where you're like, it's falling apart. Like the dialogue, you're just like, it's so campy. Oh, okay, that's not at all the same, but I don't mind.
It's when they're like driving
they're
off,
in
where
the
she's
car.
like,
They're
just get
driving
me
off.
out of here. And
That's when they stop.
When they hit the bridge, like the
basically when
broken
they see
bridge.
the bridge all
It's a little
fucked up.
further up.
it's
A little
around there, it's
further
around
up,
there.
little further up, little further up, little further.
By the way,
north.
while we're finding it,
further,
fun fact.
further. Go back.
No, go back. Right there.
That
Trying to
shot.
fill in the space, and nobody's seeing
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
That shot's really cool. Like,
See, that's what you say, right?
I'm just saying, like, I feel like that had some merit to it.
Yeah.
The lights come out.
But yeah, Cinema 6, 8.5 horror. Carlos de los Moores.
I was trying to say, one of the funnest facts about this fucking film is the car is Uncle Ben's car in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
No way.
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
same car.
Yeah, isn't it his car?
Really?
It's his car. It's his car, and he's used it on other films since. Also,
Darkman. He's
Yeah.
used it. I think in
Does he
even
own
like
it?
Yeah, it's
Stranger.
his.
Stranger Things. Sorry.
and Doctor Strange.
Doctor
Yeah, I
Strange.
think so. He brings
Yeah, I
it back.
think he used
He's
it in
brought it
Doctor
back for a
Strange.
few of his films.
That's
so.
cool.
Yeah, just a fun little
Makes an appearance in every
where the
fuck-
line. That's what I wanted them to say in the film. Once Eric told me when the line, where the line. With great power comes great responsibility in Spider-Man. It's in this fucking car. That's
Yeah,
the
it's in
Evil
that
Dead
fucking
car.
car,
So
man.
that's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cinema.
it's cinema. We're starting with cinema.
Cinema.
I mean,
Don't think it too
Yeah,
hard.
man. Don't.
That's fine.
It's
no.
him. It's
I mean,
terrible.
look, I probably have it somewhere at a 5.5 for cinema. I mean, just because maybe even a 6. Let's call it a 6 because it did stand the test of time. This thing, and it did create a lot of subgenres. You know, we did get a lot of the supernatural horror,
Splatter
splatter
genre.
horror, like kind of after.
It helped to maybe develop a genre, right?
Yeah, so I can't knock it for that. It did inspire a lot of people, and as an indie filmmaker, you got to give props where props are given, right?
Yeah,
I mean, at the
exactly. That's
end
how
of the
I'm
day,
coming at it.
you know, they put. I was reading that they took out high interest loans. They fucking asked businesses, local businesses. They shot this in Tennessee. They originally wanted to shoot it in Detroit, where Raimi's from, but they couldn't find a fucking cabin. And he was like, no, we're going to shoot in Tennessee because it'll be less cold. And then they reported that Detroit had one of its most mild winters as opposed to Tennessee has one of its worst winters.
Wow.
So, but anyways, I mean, you got to admire that.
Everything
You got to
happens for
admire
a
that
reason.
they went out, got loans, put up their house, got a
That's
second mortgage,
faith.
and then went and got like businesses to donate like crafty and gas for the crew and just like all sorts of shit. The crew didn't shower for months because there was no running water. There was no plumbing in this fucking cabin, you know. The basement shots were all done in like his dad's garage back in Michigan. There was no cellar in this fucking cabin. That was
Yeah,
a
I
whole
know.
separate
So-
city. You know?
The entire crew that we saw in the credits was all like there,
Yeah, for the most part.
and they all had to share that
And they
little
just,
cabin.
yeah, like 12, 13 crew members would sleep in the same rooms.
Oh
And it seems like
like
a small
that.
cabin, so like every time they shot, they would have to take out like the equipment out.
Yeah,
So it seemed kind
exactly.
of like abandoned.
Yeah, so I mean, it was an undertaking, and that's why I'm saying I'd love to make a film about the making of this film. It
Yeah.
seems impressive. So yeah, I'll give it a 6. I think it deems a 6 in cinema just for the impact it's lasted. That's lasted, and at the same time, the making of this film is very impressive. So, as a horror film, even in the horror genre, it's not quite my cup of tea. I love that Eric says it's just like party film, right? You throw it on and that's what we were doing. We were just shooting the
Yeah.
shit, you know, having beers, talking shit. And that, I like that it creates that experience. But as a horror film,
Hey, go back to the 80s.
No, I feel like I think it plays into a genre well.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I also feel like I'll give it a 7. Let's start there as a horror film. I think that it was this weird transition. This was released in 81, right? Or made in 80, 79, 80. And to me, it still feels like a 70s horror film. It still has a lot of those tacks from
You have
70s.
to remember,
or
this is
80s.
early 80s, so
Yeah.
it's like the transition.
That's what I'm saying.
And it might have been
That's-
shot in 79 or like
Yeah,
an early,
79,
early,
80,
like,
I know,
early
yeah.
80.
Well, the winter of 79 going into 80. So it still that's what I like about it is I love 70s films in general. So 70s horror still feels like this gritty, campy
When-
kind of situation. you
When
know?
did Friday the 13th come out again?
1980.
The
Yeah.
first one, 1980.
like
man.
same year, right?
Same
so
year.
This one was, well, I mean, I guess officially got out like 81.
yeah.
So yeah.
But that's what I mean. I love that those 70s kind of feels to it. So yeah, I'll give it a 7. I think that's pretty
That's solid.
Pretty
Okay.
solid 7 there.
Solid
Castro?
7.
For cinema?
Cinema.
For horror.
For cinema, I'll give it a 5.8. Because I kind of like the whole shaky, I kind of see like he was experimenting with that, that whole shaky camera.
I love how we're giving low ratings for cinema and then we're like, but we really like it because it's this.
That's how it goes.
That's how it really goes for like
Yeah.
a lot of horror movies from back then, especially.
So I feel like it was kind of like, evolving that little genre of like the shaky camera.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen too many horror films from past then, but
No, and that's what they had to use, right? Like I remember seeing like any quote unquote dolly shots you see in this film, they fucking put the camera on a piece of 2x4
Yeah.
we were talking
and
about
just
it.
slid it down, like literally what
Yeah,
they
like
did.
when the demon or like whatever entity is like stalking the woods, like
That's all it is, right? No steady cam,
that's
no fucking.
literally two guys on a 2x4,
Dude.
and just running with it.
Again, the actor, right? Bruce Campbell, the opening shot of him in the lake or whatever, like that was like literally fucking Bruce Campbell pushing Sam Raimi in a dinghy on the water. That's literally all it was, and him just like doing fucking this on the water.
That's why I was like,
That's why I give it props.
that's why I was joking around. Like, you get hired
Yeah.
as an FPV pilot, but you don't own a drone. You're just like, yeah, I can make it go across water.
Yeah.
Or like getting hit with the tree branches, just going back.
Oh my god, that was the best. I love that you could see that the car would be driving, and there's a branch obviously up ahead, and,
then
it
we'll just
hits
yank
the
back.
camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just yank back.
Oh,
Dude, but
damn.
even then, like, so many injuries on this film. I
Yeah,
feel
that's what
bad
I've
about
read
the
too.
actors. One cameraman slipped. Fucking camera falls on Bruce Campbell and hits all his teeth, and like a bunch of teeth fell out.
I read about the one that he twisted his ankle.
Oh,
from,
that
from
one too. And
running
then he
too.
was like, "Fucking Sam Raimi, dude, what a piece of shit." He twists his ankle,
Oh, yeah,
and then
right.
him and the producer Ted are like poking it, like fucking around with him, and then now he has a limp in the film. When he has a limp, it's a real limp because these fuckers kept poking his ankle.
Oh my
And that's probably why they got the idea for the when he stabbed
When
him.
he stabs him in the
Yeah.
ankle, yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
So yeah, for cinema that. For horror, I like the practical effects. I was a big fan of those practical effects. Not
Where
the
you at?
acting.
Where you at? Not the acting. I
Not
agree.
the
I mean,
The acting was
these are all green actors.
because I
too.
know Campbell. He's an icon for this, right? He's a cult
He's
classic.
a cult
He's the
icon.
star of the
Yeah.
Evil,
But he's
Evil Dead.
fucking terrible.
that kind of saw
Whoa,
towards
whoa,
the
whoa,
end.
whoa.
Yeah, I agree. The beginning of the
the
film,
end.
he was horrible.
He
This
Towards
was
the
his
end, he
first
gave me a
movie,
little bit
man.
more.
You gotta remember that. His first movie. And he rebrands himself in Evil Dead 2. So,
Okay.
It's like,
Well, I've seen parts of Army of Darkness, and he's good in Army of
yeah, because
Darkness.
he's a hero in that
Yeah,
one. And
yeah.
he inspired so
Well, he's playing
much.
the same character, just in a
See, that's
different
what I was-
time frame.
Did he get stuck with this?
I'll explain that later.
Yeah.
Because this is all based off his character development in Evil Dead 2. But go on.
Yeah. Okay. So for horror, I give it a
Horror.
horror.
That's how you say it in Spanish, right?
It's 7.1. That lady in the white dress towards the
Terror.
end kind of scared me a couple times.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah, there was a couple of scary
You,
things
you
that
got
were,
the
that were
reaction I
played
was
right.
hoping you would get. Like a
Yeah.
lot of, like, oh, yeah, that was kind of
Her-
It is nutty,
There was a
man.
cool
It
shot where
is,
she
it
was
is
revealed.
creepy for
freaky.
sure.
It's like,
And I was like, whoa, that's a good jump scare right there. Not,
Yeah.
not just-
The makeup effects
jump
for sure were done really well.
Yeah.
I like that the makeup effects. They just seem like that's something I could have gone to Spirit Halloween and like.
Yeah,
But
but
I
I
don't
mean,
know
no,
how-
a lot of them were thought out really well, and a lot of them really fucked the actors up, man. Like the contact lenses,
Oh,
they were
yeah, yeah,
actual
yeah.
glass,
Oh, like
and
the
they
old
couldn't
80
wear them
ones?
for more than they couldn't wear them for more than 15 minutes. They
No
had to,
way!
They had to take them off and let their eyes breathe and shit, and they were like, all right, let's go back in. Fucking,
I see now
it
where you
sucks,
want to
man.
do a film
Yeah.
about this film.
Yeah, no, the old like contact lenses were all like glass, right? That you just shove in your eye.
Hope it didn't break.
No, and then the worst part
Yeah.
is I've seen those like the Hollywood or special effects like contacts is that like instead of it just covering your pupil, no, it has to like go in the whole eye socket and it's like a pain to pull out. Like
One of the actresses that you have to make face molds for the special effects, she tore her fucking eyelashes off when she pulled off the face mold. Like, these people went through some shit, man.
Yeah.
but I mean, what troopers that like they
What troopers? Well, most of them. Whoever stuck around, the other assholes who left, you know.
I know. That's why they have to kill some off quicker than others.
Yeah, dude, a lot of people like Ted Raimi and
had to
Campbell, they
stand
would
in.
have to stand in for the actors because some of the actors
Yeah,
bounced
because if
too.
you
They were
notice,
like,
I read
all the
that
shots,
too.
all of a sudden, it's like a wig.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like
Got a couple of those.
you see from very far away and it's obviously like a mannequin, like it's no longer the actor.
Yeah, or it's like a dude wearing like just a wig.
yeah, give us a number. Give us a number. You
7.1.
7.1 for horror.
Yeah.
For horror.
I feel like this is something like John Carpenter would be really proud of. I don't know if he's ever commented on this film. Or
I'm not
anything
sure,
like that.
actually.
I feel
I
like
don't
he
know.
would say something positive about this film, given its
Maybe.
creativity, given its kind of loose.
You know what it kind of reminded me of? And this is John's wild take. It kind of reminded me of Shaun of the Dead.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It definitely got inspired
like
by it, right?
Yeah.
more serious, because Eric's right. They cut out 20 minutes from this film from the original cut because Sam Raimi did intend for this to be a little more serious with a joke here and there.
For sure. Yeah, it got like some dark
Yeah,
humor
because
in it,
like,
but it's more
the,
of a horror.
The campiness is gonna be there because
Yeah.
the campiness of the acting, and it's just like
It's just part of the genre, right?
it's part of the genre, and like they're just trying to push forward, like because like the big thing that has this movie going for is just shock factor.
Yeah.
shock factor. Like the rape scene in the
Yeah.
woods.
It's
the
always like-
gore. It's
yeah.
just once it starts to like ramp up, it doesn't stop. It's
Can,
just
can
gore,
I touch
gore,
on
gore,
that
gore,
really
That's a good way
quick?
to put
Xena, the actress who plays Xena, which Sam Raimi directed.
Sheena,
Is
yeah.
Sheena. Is it Sheena?
Yeah.
I thought it was Xena. The you guys know who she is, right? She's like
Yeah, she's like
warrior
this
princess.
Hercules,
With Hercules,
she
yeah.
Hercules.
Yeah, the
almost.
she Hercules. So Sam Raimi did a film with her, that film.
Yeah.
Down the line. When this film came out, she was like, what horrible film. Like, this is the bursting, especially the rape scene in the woods. And then she married the producer of this film later and then ended up starring in a Sam Raimi
Oh,
film.
come on.
Wow.
No, and
So,
worse though,
she came around.
She comes out in the series.
Of The Evil Dead? Oh,
Ash versus
shit,
Evil
okay.
Dead. Yeah.
God.
Talking
Yeah,
about
'cause, like, I
backpedaling,
think
huh?
Sheena was produced by Sam Raimi. I think.
Well, I'm sure if he directed the
Yeah.
originals, I would assume
Yeah,
so.
so he produced Sheena.
Okay.
And I remember seeing that as a kid too. And Ted Raimi comes out in those films too. I mean, show to show.
Talking
Okay,
about
okay.
that, you remember Hercules, right?
Which Hercules?
Yes.
The one with the, what was it, Xena or Sheena, whatever?
Well, Hercules, I think.
It was it the same universe or?
It might have been.
Well,
I know
anyway,
what you're talking about.
But
I
did
know.
you see
so.
the meme on the internet? I was like, why did you get blacklisted? It was like, I didn't get blacklisted. It was just full of pedos. And I left.
Oh, shit,
yeah, I
no.
was like,
From
whoa.
Hercules? Or,
From the guy,
shit.
I
yeah.
know that.
They asked him on Twitter and he was like, nobody blacklisted me. I just
That
left.
just bounced.
They're all
Yeah,
fucking
that's
pedos.
crazy.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
But anyway, my bad.
No, yeah. But no, just a fun fact about that whole
Yeah,
kind of...
I really like that because Sheena has worked with Sam Raimi ever since.
yeah, so
Oh my God.
I guess you changed your mind. Okay, cool. What do you give it, Eric?
That's true.
Simba?
All right, let's start with the cinema one. I think I'm gonna be a little more generous. I think I'll be giving it 6.5
Okay.
6.5?
for just cinema.
Is
They
this,
do a lot
is
for
this
cinema.
one of your favorite films? Or is it one of
It's-
your favorite horror films?
It's
or?
one of my favorite horror films.
Okay, okay.
And it's one of the inspirations I like a lot. Like,
Yeah. I looked at him because, like, when he's burning the book, he uses a black leather book of the dead, quote unquote, in a couple of his films. And it's kind of like a cool little Eric universe thing that we'll consistently
Nice.
use.
Yeah, I love those. I
And
love
he's,
those.
I looked at him as soon as I saw it. I was like, you son of a bitch. He's like, I
You
told
gotta-
you.
Hey, man.
I was like, I didn't know it was inspired by
yeah,
this. That's
I've
cool.
told you when
Pink
even when I
comics.
made Rooster Speak.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Super cool.
and for horror, I will.
Remember, you're a little kid. You watched it for the first time.
How old were you?
I was like
Scared the shit out of you. So,
like 8 or 9 or 8 around there.
so give it that score. The kid that watched it.
Oh man, I'd probably give it like a solid 8.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
as,
As a
a
horror.
kid, like
As
a
a kid.
solid 8 because like as a kid it scared me.
It impacted
but
you.
it impacted me because like it had such a different tone than the sequel.
What had been?
Oh, 'cause you watched
saw
it,
the
yeah,
I
you
sequel
saw
watched
the
the second
sequel
one.
first, Evil Dead 2. And
It's more. Is it more comedic?
it is. It's considered a horror comedy.
And this one is still trying to be.
I've only ever
serious.
seen the poster.
Yeah,
the
this one's
fucking
way
poster's
serious.
funny. It's like a skull looking like.
Yeah, it's like a skull with eyeballs.
It just looks funny. Yeah.
And like when I saw that, because like, and I saw it in Spanish because it came out on TV like late at
Oh, one
night.
of those dumb Spanish ones.
And it was like El Despertar del Diablo 2. And like it has a stop
can't do
motion.
those, bro.
It has like the stop motion book come out into the there, and it explains about like the Necronomicon. Like
Yeah.
it's so crazy. And I was like, man, this fucking movie is fucking insane. And like it was just so much.
It's packed.
It impacted me, and I had a blast when I saw it as a kid. I was staying up late at night, and then my parents were asleep watching it. I was watching it in their room.
Okay.
And then like it was just madness. It was hilarious. It was just such a splatter fest of gore, blood. And
You're a
then I
big fan of
decided to
those.
rent the first one because this is a sequel.
Right.
And then I saw the first one. I'm like, oh, whoa! Why is the tone so much like scarier
Yes.
than the first one? I was expecting more like the funny parts to like start. Like, no,
It's funny. Do you feel like that might have been the beginning of the quote unquote? I feel like it started in horror, the beginning of the cash grab, right? Because like it
do you
feels
mean?
like horror sequels back then sucked, with the exception of maybe Halloween. But like Friday the 13th sucked. Well, that's, with the exception
the
of
sequel was great for
the
Friday
3.
13.
I count 3 as the sequel because it's like
the
2 is where Jason comes out.
I don't know, man. Friday Part 3, I love it.
I don't know. I
It's
feel
one of
like
my-
that was the beginning of cash grabs. Like horror's
Oh.
cheap. Let's fucking make 10 of these and it'll be fun.
no,
and-
yeah, that all started with you can't even say like Psycho, man. Like
That's true.
and,
Jaws.
like Jaws, like so many because like
Yeah.
it's gonna make money.
I still don't put Jaws as a horror. Bro.
Austin,
no.
It is.
can you look up the
horror.
first franchise film?
First franchise, Star Trek.
Yeah,
Is
what
it
would be
Star
the
Trek?
first one?
I wonder
don't
if
know.
it was Chaplin too, because technically the Tramp.
Oh,
is,
then I mean,
you know,
but Chaplin is
Laurel and Hardy
I think of
character,
Chaplin
you know.
como Chespirito. You know, like
Right.
like is it a franchise or is it a
a
him?
character.
Or like is it just the guy making
The
Chaplin?
Yeah, like
original
that
Planet of the
that's
Apes?
way
Planet
far
of
back
the
in the day.
Apes.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes, all right, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
68. Okay. All right, so
But-
that's fair. So cinema, you give it a 6.5. Horror, you give it an
Childhood me would give it an 8.
And then
What are you
now,
giving it now?
7.8.
7.8.
Really?
Last point 2.
A 7.8 because like yeah, it still has like the campiness and like it might distract some people of, like what's really going on in the movie. And I get it because like I guess that's the first thing you guys pointed out. Oh my god, what
It's
is
so
this?
campy.
So campy. But you have to remember this is back then,
Yeah.
and like you have to watch this with the intent of like, yeah, like don't
take it
expect
too
don't expect
seriously, yeah.
Scorsese, don't expect
Yeah.
It's just a cabin in
Spielberg,
the woods.
you know?
Yeah. And I you've taught me that. You've
Yeah,
taught
yeah,
me
yeah.
that a long time
And
ago to like.
I don't know how I even learned that myself. I think it also helped a lot because
Well,
like
because you also see good cinema. One of your favorite directors is Steven Spielberg.
Right.
You know, so you know the difference.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I've said is really good about Spielberg is that dude will make campy horror shit
you know what?
on a
And
massive scale.
Like, I remember like growing up, like watching these
Mute me really
movies, and
quick,
I was like, I fucking love it. And like, I don't know why it is like it's such. I just love it, and I never really shared this stuff with like I guess like back in school, I would
Take a wild guess.
I wouldn't tell
Trauma.
like, you know, my friends like Mikey or like Martin, like, oh, I love Evil Dead, like, or like it's just stuff like I kept at my house because like, oh, we're gonna think I'm stupid for liking
Like me
this
and
shit.
Sharknado.
Yeah. You know, like
They're always the biggest
and then like
fan
I
of
started
Sharknado.
watching this YouTuber, and you know what? It's not that I kept it a secret. It's just like I grew up with it. I love it, and you don't like it. I get it, you know. But then I started watching this YouTuber. His name is James Rolfe. He has like a YouTube channel called Cinemassacre, and he goes into depth into all these movies from like the 50s monsters to like the B horror films, shitty films from the 80s.
Right.
And it makes you like because they're meant to be that way, you know.
No,
like,
and they are. But I don't know. Do
And I
you think
guess-
they knew that back then? Do you think they knew,
No,
like, we're
a
just
lot-
going to have fun with this shit and fuck it?
yeah, I think so.
You think
to a
so?
certain degree, yeah, they did.
I also think
And
that
it was to make money, to make movies.
Right.
yeah, I also think that when you watch a lot of these movies and the ones that like now we think are very campy and now we think are very just almost silly in their portrayals of like gore and horror and all that kind of stuff, I do genuinely think that they were trying to appeal to a storytelling model that wasn't too explored yet. Like, I mean, you know, we're also talking
Sure.
about like a lot of films that, like, even with Rosemary's Baby, we talked about like everything was so prim and proper,
Wow.
and this
Yeah.
was in a way pushing cinema to explore a darker theme and be very visceral about the way we're going to
There's even like
portray
some
it.
sort. It's almost like it's so much that it's hilarious. It's almost
Yeah.
that's
It's
not
absurd.
Oh, you
It's
know, like-
absurd. Yeah.
And
Like-
that's what I love about it. It's just so absurd.
Yeah.
Like that's what I love about like horror comedies. That genre is that they say that what happens with like the line between horror and comedy is that when you see like your body builds up energy expecting something's gonna happen, right? And when the thing that happens ends up being threatening, like the surprise ends up being threatening, that's when it becomes scary. And when the thing that
Yeah.
happens ends up not being scary, it ends up being kind of dumb. That's when it's comedy. So it's always this like, how do we build up tension? And then what are we going to do to break the tension?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why it's great in like, these horror comedy genres, because you're always going to be building up tension, but then the director has the ability or the writer has the ability to decide, are we going to make this a joke or make this like serious, And
Yeah,
that's
'cause,
the
like-
only line that kind of separates
Like
the
in
two.
a certain way, like I even like think like when they're shooting this film, like that I feel like at a certain point they become like they're self-aware about it. Like
Yeah.
fuck it, just roll with
Jordan
it,
Jordan Peele has a really famous quote, which I like. He says the only difference between, and he would know, he knows both very well,
Yeah.
both genres very well. Says the only difference between horror and comedy is the music.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
I've heard
Timing,
that.
timing
I've heard
has
that.
to be the same, right? Depending on what you're
Yeah.
trying to say.
The build-up.
The build up has to be the same. That it's just
Yeah.
the music that ends up telling you how you should feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Fucking,
kidding. No, no. Yeah, I think it's interesting too. How many Evil Dead films are there at this point?
let's see. There's this one, The Evil Dead 2, The Army of Darkness, and then you get the remake, Evil Dead 2013. And
Okay.
then you get Ash vs. the Evil Dead, 3 seasons
Of the show.
of the show, and then you get Evil Dead Rise. So there's 6 installments.
Oh, that's
Whoa,
the
whoa,
one.
whoa, whoa. Hold on. Scroll up. I just saw something interesting.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Graphic novels. There's a
Put your
Freddy
ass
versus Jason versus
Oh,
Ash.
yeah,
what?
there is.
That's fucking dope.
What?
the heck?
And
Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
When
the
did that
Nightmare
one come
Warriors. probably around the time Freddy versus Jason came
Yeah.
out.
And
07.
there's
And I like that
also
one.
Fuck yeah, me too.
Ash comes down in Marvel Zombies.
Marvel Zombies versus the Army of the Darkness. That's fucking cool, dude. I want those comic books.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so
No,
cool.
so I'm telling you, like Ash Williams, you see this because I was even confused as a kid because like I saw the sequel first, right?
Right.
And maybe a little spoiler alert, they're kind of retcon
Wait, what's the upcoming ones?
the first movie a little bit.
What's the... Oh,
Untitled.
there's a
Scroll
couple
down.
more films coming up.
Oh yeah, so Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi and anyone Bruce Campbell involved with the Evil Dead universe, they're
were-
building a Bible for Evil Dead and for future filmmakers. Like, there you go. There's
A
your
Bible?
source material.
That's fucking cool.
So because like they're aware because like people keep wanting these and like it's almost like people keep making like sequels, but like,
Spin-offs.
man, if I could get an Evil Dead movie every 3 years, every 2 years, fuck yeah,
I
dude.
genuinely wonder what direction Raimi's going to head into because I don't know why I felt like he was taking a more serious approach and then like Marvel came around and said, "Here's $20 million, do a
they
Doctor
saw-
Strange for us." I heard Doctor Strange wasn't all that great. I heard people were
Did
really
you watch it?
disappointed. I
They
didn't see it, no.
criticized, from what I've heard a lot. Well, at least in my opinion, people criticize a lot of the script, and I could see why. Like, okay, because when I
Who
saw
wrote
the
it?
movie, I was just very. I guess
Let
like
me see who
I
wrote
saw it
Doctor
with like
Strange, Method of Madness, or whatever it's called.
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness.
When I saw that movie, I saw with the glasses of me geeking out. That's Sam
Sam
Raimi.
Raimi, yeah, of course.
And like, yeah,
That's what excited me at first about
and like I saw
might
it, and
want
they
to check
had
this out.
all the Sam Raimi like references into it, or like his style of movie making or filmmaking.
Yeah.
or
Michael
directing.
Waldron wrote the script. He's a Rick and Morty writer. Well, there's no surprise there.
Community.
So-
I felt like it was pretty good. Like
I thought I
for what
liked
it was
it.
trying to do, and
Yeah.
that's the hard part. I feel like, especially with that franchise of like Marvel, always trying to like top your last thing and always trying to add more
And then
stakes.
this one, I didn't help that before everyone's expecting
It gets tough.
shitload of cameos and this and this and that. But at the end of the day, it's a Doctor Strange movie. We have to focus on him.
Yeah, and it was just meant to be this like.
I think Sam Raimi did the best he could with what he got.
Yeah, and didn't they even tell him like you're kind of allowed to kill whoever you want and do whatever you want?
I'm
like
not even sure, but like
Rachel
I
McAdams
just
still in it?
appreciated that his signature
It's not
is in
Rachel
there.
McAdams.
That,
Rachel
'cause,
McAdams
like,
was in the first
There's
one?
a lot of
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like there's moments where like you've seen it right, like Wanda stalking Doctor Strange and the little girl, like in the other universe. That was very Evil Dead. There's a lot of Evil Dead moments. In that one.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of Spider-Man moments in that one too.
And that's the thing.
I think that's
feel
what
like
people were excited about the most was like, oh, Sam Raimi's returning to Marvel. Like,
yeah, but like it's just unfortunate because he got a very saturated like script.
Yeah, no, and then also like I feel like any writer who comes into or any director that comes into a Marvel's film, you're trying to not only write something that's original and unique, but you need to obviously have in mind, but then the next film up is this one, so how do we kickstart this? It becomes locked into the franchise. But we don't have to get into
No, I do want to talk about that a little bit because I when I heard Sam Raimi was coming to do a Marvel film, I was like, okay. They just let Taika do something. Taika's shit was cool. You know, they let him free reign on Thor, and that shit was cool. It wasn't the best film in the world, but it was Taika. You know, it felt Taika. I thought they're going to give Sam Raimi a thing. I haven't seen it because, you know, eventually I was turned off by how much people were hating it, which I shouldn't have. I should check it out. But
I tend to do that too.
I'm thinking once a director earns their stripes, they're going to let them do whatever they want. That's anybody. Sam Raimi's already reached that that threshold. But I started thinking about that because recently James Cameron was on the news because James Cameron basically joined the board from one of the biggest AI companies in the world.
Okay.
He joined the board of directors, and everybody was shitting on him. Everybody was like, "Fuck you! Like you're contributing to the problem. AI is going to take over cinema." And he was like, "Whoa, slow down. You guys are going to bitch about this." And he like went off on people. You guys are going to bitch about this, but you're being part of the problem. This shit's going to happen whether you like it or not. We should get involved and make it better. That way, people who are making cinema can use it as a tool. It doesn't have to take over people's jobs, and that's what I'm doing. I'm making $100 million films with special effects in them. If it makes some people's jobs easier and it's cheaper, everybody wins, you know? So, like, he kind of went off on that rant, and he was basically saying, like, the studio's not going to have any control on me. They're not going to tell me to use AI for the sake of using AI. I'm going to use AI if I feel like using AI.
Yeah.
Plus, he's earned that right, too. Like,
He's earned that right. And that's why I think when you told me, like, for instance, Sam Raimi, and I didn't know that. That's why I freaked out during the screening. That Sam Raimi made Spider-Man 3. He made all three original Spider-Mans. It cost him $350 million to make Spider-Man 3. $350 million. That was the most expensive film at the time.
At the time, yeah.
At the time.
And the cool juxtaposition there, by the way, or the parallel, is that this cost $350,000 and Spider-Man cost $350 million. So that was a cool little
contrast,
couple more cereals. Yeah.
But $350 million fucking dollars to make Spider-Man 3, and it sucked ass. First of all, but you said that studio had a lot of control over it. I don't know if I believe that. He had already earned his stripes at that point.
No, but
unfortunately, no.
But
I
it's
feel
like still Marvel.
And Sony didn't have that much clout. Well, maybe they did because of Spider-Man 1. Yeah.
Read the stories, man.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi was defeated, man.
Yeah.
He was bummed out. He was bummed out. He couldn't make
He leave directing for a little while because of it?
He wanted to be done with Spider-Man because you know what? He didn't even want to direct Spider-Man 3.
I think
he was not happy with any script that he was given.
Yeah, I think like Sam Raimi's career is very similar to what we see Rian Johnson doing. Rian Johnson did Star Wars and was fucking hated it. You know, he was like defeated because everybody shit on his film, and then he turns around and makes. And then he turns around and
Whoa.
Wow. You both are right.
Moving forward.
But Rian Johnson turns around and makes Knives Out.
Yeah.
Fucking he's having fun again as a director. And then he goes and makes Poker Face. So like I feel like Sam Raimi was like, Spider-Man 3, not my jam. I didn't fucking love it. I'm gonna go make some cool shit again. What did he make after Spider-Man 3?
I think he did Oz.
The Great and Powerful?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, wait.
I like that movie a lot.
Wait, no,
There was
wait.
another one we did on the Watchtower.
He might have done Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell because that was an
But there you go. That's fun. As much as like I didn't see the film, so you guys talked about it, but he went to go have fun again as a director.
Yeah.
Was that what Drag Me to Hell feels like? Does it feel like he just went
it had
to
Justin Long, and like it was just back at his horror thing.
Why is Justin Long the indie horror guy? Sam Raimi uses him in this. Kevin Smith used him in Tusk,
Jeepers
and then
Creepers.
Barbarian is fucking Justin Long.
Dude, he comes out in Jeepers Creepers.
That's true.
Creepers.
Yeah, that's right. Jeepers Creepers. Produced by Francis Ford Coppola, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
The fuck?
He backed all three of those motherfuckers, despite the fact that the director went to prison
It's a
for
fucking
touching little
pedophile,
kids.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Fuck him, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Anyways,
stop talking about
people who.
Yeah, I know, man. That was fucking.
I know, like,
Danny.
That just came up organically, but Coppola
Mine
did
wasn't.
produce those
They'd
films.
say the same thing.
Yeah, they probably would. They're probably in prison like, yo, I did a movie with Coppola. Give me your snack pack. Come on. Just give me a ramen. Give me an extra ramen.
wanna be
I will
famous.
say, I'm a big fan. My favorite, I don't care, Eric.
Yeah.
My favorite Sam Raimi film is probably Oz the Great and Powerful. I actually really enjoyed that film.
That makes sense. If your favorite movie from Scorsese is Hugo,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I love Wizard of Oz and I love the Technicolor era of cinema. So,
And
like,
you know what? I actually did like Oz the Great and Powerful.
it was
right?
great. I
saw
actually
that in
enjoyed it.
theaters, by the way,
Same.
and I thought it was good.
I
and then
enjoyed it a
I
lot.
didn't know it was a Sam Raimi film until the end. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Like,
Can you
makes
click on the
sense.
The lighting, by the way, tells you a bit because it's a bit of a darker, but it's not quite Wicked, but it
seen
is
that.
darker in tone. You
I
know?
haven't seen it. Was Wicked even out?
Well, Wicked, no, but the play. I mean, like if you know
Oh,
Wicked, you know
okay,
that
okay.
it's basically the opposite perspective.
This one
It's
looks
from the
good.
witch's perspective.
yeah,
It's fun, man. It's really I enjoyed it.
James Franco.
because he's Oz, right?
Franco.
Yeah. It's a prequel, by the way. It's a prequel to
I
The Wizard of
remember.
Oz.
I remember it was a prequel, and I was like,
you
"Oh,
zoom in
this
on
is
that?
kind of cool." Like,
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And,
Talking
and
about
again,
Peter.
I
Mila Kunis is in it. I think
Is she?
she's the Wicked
I
Witch
know
of the
Michelle
West.
Williams. Michelle Williams is
Or it might have not been Mila Kunis.
I don't think it was Mila Kunis. I think it was Michelle Williams from
plays the
Manchester
witch?
by the Sea. Well, she's the good witch, Michelle Williams.
The good witch, but I'm talking about the bad because she's a
don't
good
know.
witch at first, and she's in love
Who
with
is
Oz.
it? Go to the cast.
They all bad bitches.
I think it is Mila Kunis.
It might be. Yeah, you're right. Theodora.
Yeah, she's
More like
she's
Mila
the Wicked Witch of the
Kunis.
West.
Mila Kunis. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that movie a lot. I think again that shows Sam Raimi having
And this is his first time
Range.
going like fantastical. Well,
Yeah.
well, to be fair, he's already had some experience in the fantastical area, like fantasy,
Yeah.
with Army of Darkness.
That's true. That's true.
Because like Army of Darkness, the first 3 Evil Dead movies, the fun thing about it is that one is a fucking like more serious tone, like
Yeah.
more straight horror.
This is the
Sequel is
exact-
like slapstick comedy horror movie.
3 is like fucking.
And 3 is straight action, goofy
Yeah.
shit.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like Bill and Ted, the Bill and Ted of Evil Dead.
yeah, it's fucking awesome, man.
It's not as comedic, but it
Oh,
is
no,
like
it's
fun.
comedic.
It's comedic, but like it is like more action.
It's very animated.
Even
it's
the
like,
fucking posters
it's
like,
like-
Rambo. You
It's
know,
like, it's very Warner Bros. Comic,
that's when
like
he found out.
Looney Tunes,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
cartoony.
His career
That's what
was
it is. And
Yeah.
Army of Darkness, the funny thing
I
about
love
it,
that little porcelain doll in the film, man. I don't know why I love her character so much.
man, I forgot about this fucking
Yeah.
movie a lot.
But I think Sam Raimi like showed some range here. He showed he could do a big studio picture with Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Post Spider-Man, something more original. And then and then we go into what did he do after that?
Did Sam Raimi go to
I'm not sure what
high
he did.
school or?
I don't know. What I do know is that he turned 20 in
I think he was in film school.
Because you
for a
guys were
bit.
saying that this one was like legitly a.
no, not at film
You
school.
laughing at that little character will break your heart in the film, man. The monkey. Think about the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
The flying monkeys.
Yeah.
He's a good one. It's so good. It's so good, man.
Good.
But no,
but-
no,
Laughing at his face more than anything. Look at
I think he did. But what I do know is that he turned 20 2 weeks before rolling cameras on Evil Dead.
Oh, okay,
He
see,
turned 20.
Wait,
Fucking
Raimi?
19.
he definitely was
Yeah.
a student. Definitely a student.
Dude,
It
wait,
was-
and then this thing cost $350,000?
and
He
like,
managed a
appar-
$350,000
and, like,
At 19, he was putting a
Evil
mortgage in
Dead
the house
was
and shit.
studied by film students because it's a film student movie because like people study it.
What?
What?
What is he laughing at? What
I
did you
don't know.
say?
it. No, look at your phone.
No, it's something on the
Here,
phone.
wait, real quick. I'll just show you.
Sorry for the audience. We'll
The way it lines
send
up.
it.
You idiot.
I'll put it up on the screen so people can see.
Checking my friend.
But the way the
So is
camera
it
lines
you?
up-
Is it you checking your frame and me?
No, that's you checking my frame and me just there on the
Because look
side.
how the camera lines up.
That's funny. You fucking put the actual Ursa in there? That's great.
No, that's
No,
like-
that's
Oh,
how it
that's
lined
a
up.
picture.
That's
Oh,
really
yeah,
good.
that's why I took a
Good.
photo because you look at his face and
That's
he's
good.
just all like,
hilarious.
and then
Put that on the
okay, Master?
podcast.
That's hilarious. Anyways, yeah, Sam Raimi, fucking again, my respects to that, right? But he's had an interesting career. I'll say this: is he content? Has he made his coup de grace? Is it the Evil Dead? I don't think so. I think
His coup de grace?
Yeah, his coup de cut the grass. I'm curious to see what he's gonna do next because I want him to do a Sam Raimi picture, whatever
I still
that
want
is.
him to do
You
the
know
next big thing or like the next thing.
Something,
But,
right?
like,
So he hasn't.
I don't
he's
think
been
he
producing
has.
more than anything.
has.
You know what I'll say? I think what happens with directors like these, the ones that like do these really out there wild films that use a lot of practical effects, and they're very I don't know how else to describe it other than like very fanciful. Like I mean, it's super imaginative, but I feel
That
like
they're kind of the perfect directors for franchises, so people just snag them
no.
up and say,
I was gonna say that I think the challenge becomes that if you let them play too much with their imagination, it's gonna be something that maybe will be the maximum. Like I mean, when I watched what is it called, Doctor Strange, I felt like that's when we're starting to see a maximum. Like you can put whatever special effects, you can put whatever sequences you want, and we're seeing the potential for somebody like him. But
he's got to be what 50,
No.
60 now.
yeah,
Feels like in
but
his
again,
60s,
I think
50s?
his style falls into a niche, and sometimes it doesn't always make it marketable. Somebody I'll use is Francis Ford Coppola. He just made Metropolis, right? Megalopolis. And I feel like when you talk to me about that, like his styles as a director, like he has a lot to say, but he has to kind of do the Godfather and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because
The interesting thing about directors like that is that they have money now.
Yeah.
And they could give a shit about the industry. Megalopolis was funded by Francis Ford Coppola. He put $150 million of his own money to make that shit. Like, once you stop...
His winery, no?
Yeah, he sold
There
a
you
piece
go,
of his
yeah.
winery. Once you stop giving a fuck, but I don't know that Sam Raimi's got Coppola money. You know?
No.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
He probably
Well,
can't.
He
That-
probably
right.
has more than him. At this
Nah,
point.
fuck no. I highly doubt it.
Hey, with the way Megalopolis is making,
Well, now, right? You're probably right.
True.
No, but
That is
hey,
true.
that Marvel paycheck must have given him something to where he can be like, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I want
because
now.
I mean, I can't
he's
imagine.
been able to do whatever he fucking wants in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's that weird kind of there's that weird curtain in filmmaking where it's like I could make this film if I just had a little bit more budget, but because I don't, let me see what I can do. Something like this, 350 million or for 350,000, you see a lot of the creative liberties that he takes,
Yeah.
but you can also see the limitations. Like in some of the practical effects, when it looks really cheesy and fake, I genuinely feel like, oh man, but if he had a little bit more budget, maybe he
Well,
could have like milked this part
that's
or
fair.
milked that part. You know,
That's fair. But what the issue that we as filmmakers have now, and I think we all in this room can agree,
erectile.
there's a
Eating.
weird fluke situation that happened, and I'm not saying that their merit is any less for it, but I'm willing to bet that if we had a conversation with Sam Raimi now, and we had a conversation with Scorsese now, it'd be like, yo, it wasn't as competitive as then.
Yeah.
You guys had money, enough money to make a picture. 350,000 then translates to what? Maybe $1 million now?
Yeah, for sure.
You had enough of a fucking money, enough of a budget to make a picture. And it's getting a little harder to do that because of the oversaturation of the market and all that shit, whatever you want. But I'm willing to bet that those guys, that's what they're going to bet. We made it marketable. The 80s for horror was marketable,
Yeah.
like overly marketable.
Yeah.
Like you can make a shitty horror film and still come out on top. Part of the making of this film where like he was taking it around to studios,
Did you
nobody
just
was
go and
wanting
film
it.
a shitty film.
And the producers were like, yo, hold on. That's not how you sell the film. What we got to do, make brochures in every language, open it up to a world market, and this thing's going to sell. It's horror. It's going to sell. Sam Raimi was going around basically saying, hey, it's this gritty horror thing, but it's marketable. That was the word he was using. He was saying there's marketability to this film. Do you guys agree? Not in our generation, but but for 80s horror,
No,
of
but
course.
I was even thinking while watching the movie, and I don't know, I've had this weird sense of nostalgia towards. I wish I could have seen this before internet and before widespread
Right,
information,
right.
because films like these give you an extra layer of joy, kind of like when you talk about the video store. Having something like this that you have to sneak around
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
have to kind of hide, and
Right.
and when
That's
you
a good-
watch it, you're watching it with like close friends and buddies, or you're going to like a theater and watching like a late night screening, like 10 p.m. and stuff like that.
That thing though,
Imagine.
that thing only works in horror. If I made a drama where there's an X-rated scene, people aren't gonna go around saying like, "Oh, it's got the sex-rated
No,
scene in it."
yeah,
it's
definitely.
only works in horror.
It only works for horror because
that underground thing.
Oh, like morbid curiosity or
and then, look, it's happening. It's
Taboo.
happening right now with like Terrifier 3. Like all these younger crowds, like, they want to check it out because oh shit, how is this gonna
How
top the
bad is
second
it,
one?
right?
also the
Yeah.
name
How taboo.
Terrifier, you know,
Yeah.
like
How
it-
taboo is it?
It
And,
sounds so extreme.
And it doesn't help that people are like the people are leaving the theaters and after the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and whenever
they're
one of
passing
those
out
situations happens.
barf bags and shit like
In
that.
any other genre, in comedy and horror and drama,
That's
somebody
what I'm
walks out of the theater,
Oh,
you don't have a picture.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
but
like,
They
horror-
might even,
No,
what
no.
they might even do
But horror,
give you
you
a
did
gun
something
and
right.
shoot yourself if this movie sucks.
imagine like a comedy movie. It was too funny. I had to leave. Like nobody gives a damn.
No,
Like,
it doesn't
wouldn't
work
happen.
that
It's
way.
you call that kid a loser, and
It's
then
like point and laugh. But like again, the marketability even in Germany. We talked about Germany banning this film and bootlegs
Yeah,
started
'cause
coming
as
out.
soon as-
That helps the sellability of the film.
And then
Yeah,
also
word of mouth
like,
for sure.
It's just the fact that you
Nice.
cannot see this movie. You're gonna want to see it more.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
that's why
I
you was
had the
touching on
same
that.
experience with I think Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh,
like I remember like that one
yeah.
being like pitched around and then people being like, "Oh, it's too intense" and all that. Or the other one was like
Serbian
human.
film.
Oh,
Human, no,
but that was-
I'm still never mind.
So why didn't they ban Centipede? What the fuck?
No,
is
they
that?
didn't.
The human
I,
centipede.
I never
They
watched
banned
that
it?
one, but I always was like,
I don't know why.
you know.
Why didn't they?
It's
too
its
extreme.
own genre,
it's not,
right?
It's not as bad as you think.
No, but
Okay.
the list of those films, it's its own genre. If you think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like this.
Yeah, that's why they have like
Underground.
the video
Grindhouse?
nasties like in
Nah,
the
Grindhouse
UK.
isn't quite right because Grindhouse is more playful. It's leaning into a genre.
Splatter.
No,
not
Grindhouse
splatter.
does fall like into the whole like it's almost video nasties, but it's legal.
Like almost too bad that it's good type of thing.
Hey,
you know?
Austin.
I never understood
It's-
Grindhouse.
Can you look
Grindhouse
up,
is like
list of
exploitation
horror
films.
subgenres?
That's what it is.
Yeah. No, but for instance, Serbian film, Human Centipede, all these films, what genre do they fall under? Just like the
Shock,
shock or
because like there is a whole other sub
Slasher.
level like
Is there shock? Is
Serbian
there a
film
shock genre?
is shock to the point it's offensive.
folk horror.
is let's call it like banned films. Is banned films like a genre? You know how like in
Oh,
books
it is.
there's like banned
It
books.
is, but like see for example, Evil Dead might even fall in the category if it got banned in
Yeah.
Germany.
Well,
and it's not as bad as
Who knows,
Serbian
man?
film.
Last Temptation of Christ got banned in fucking
Whoa.
Exactly.
China and
So it's the same
Splatterpunk.
Splatterpunk. What's Splatterpunk?
It's right above
What's techno horror?
thing. Techno, it might be like cyberpunk.
We got the beats.
I don't know, it's futuristic shit. Yeah, see,
Punk is the Toxic Avenger.
Oh,
really?
That's interesting.
Because
I mean, at that point, just call it a fucking splatter movie. Like,
well, it's because it's also like very green. It's
Punky.
like it's very green and
Repo Man or
Green.
Repo Man. Yeah, Repo Man's a very punk movie.
yeah,
and it's very bizarre.
yeah.
also like he's a
Splatterpunk.
hero. Like he's like really grotesque, but he's
Body
No,
horror.
but like, see, like, there's movies where like it's
What
almost.
the fuck is creepy pasta?
you don't know
You don't
what
know
creepypasta is?
creepypasta?
No,
You
what
never
the fuck
heard
is
of that?
You've never heard of
creepypasta?
that?
No.
What the fuck?
Slenderman. Okay.
Slenderman, that's creepypasta. They're like
Creepypasta.
urban legends from the internet.
SCP Foundation.
What?
I don't know what
nobody-
that is.
Wait, say it
SCP?
again.
SCP Foundation.
Is that like the fucking like back rooms or like?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the whole idea of SCP is
It's pretty cool, honestly.
it's a fiction that was made that just says that there's a fictional building that contains cryptids, monsters, and like phenomena. And with that, it's an ongoing series of
it's
people
almost like
creating
the
these-
Men in Black investigating like phenomena
Yeah,
that happens in the world, but like,
So like what like
but it's a beyond our
Twilight
understanding.
Zone or
kind of like it's yeah. So all the stories for SCPs are Twilight Zone-esque episodes.
Okay.
But then at the very end, they say, "Oh, but don't worry, we have this contained, and it has a threat level
okay.
now."
And,
That's
and then
cool.
there's now
Yeah.
like a very new genre. There's analog horror,
Yeah.
like
Analog
I
Oh,
think
like Bandersnatch? Is that
I
no?
haven't- Wait, is that
Which is the
Black Mirror?
analog
The Black
one that
Mirror one, yeah.
Or are you talking about Skinamarink?
Skinamarink.
I haven't
Skinamarink.
seen it, but that's
saw it,
one
right?
of the more.
I haven't seen it yet.
it's a more recent. I
I've just
guess
heard it's
like,
very
to the
uncomfortable.
mainstream.
Penny
That's
Dreadful.
analog horror.
I just wonder what something like I don't know, man.
There's a movie that came out I think 90s or early 2000s. I even forgot what it's called. I think it's called The Sisters or like. It's basically a vomit fest.
Nah,
So
not
see, that's a kind of horror, but it's like
Family
fluids.
Guy's starting to do that.
you
shit.
you
And-
wonder why it's a really cool parallel because like Eric has taught me too of like I'm always very curious of like subgenres in music. So when it comes to metal, I don't know that there's another genre in music that has as many subgenres as metal.
As metal.
Like,
No.
because, Eric will teach me about fucking heavy metal versus industrial metal versus
Baby metal.
death metal versus new metal versus Norwegian death metal.
Viking.
Like, he's kind of taught me a lot about those subgenres. And think about it, like, they kind of align with the horror,
Or what's the hair metal, or what was it called? Yeah, right.
Teeth metal.
Hair metal?
Which one?
Or glam metal. Or
Yeah, glam, hair metal. It's the same shit.
Yeah,
Glam rock.
but like I like that because like horror fans, it's no surprise that metal fans are very much horror fans.
Yeah.
And they know the differences on horror, like at least Eric does.
True.
Those subgenres are they're
Yeah,
very
'cause, like,
interesting. to
you
me.
got your like American horror, and then you got your Italian horror, the giallo.
Yeah.
Giallo is very
Dario Argento, yeah.
Lucio Fulci.
Yeah.
Joe D'Amate. I can't even say his name.
Yeah.
But they make it's very
Dario Argento shit. That's the only
It's-
thing I say. Like the original Suspiria and
Oh, yeah.
shit. That's nuts, man.
it's like I don't know how to explain that kind of horror. It's like it's beautiful, but it's absurd.
It's Italian. It's like Dario Argento. I remember one of the Suspiria things, or what's Suspiria, where they're like drilling a big ass like hole punch through a woman's like, and the blood's coming out, but it's lit very beautifully.
Yeah.
And, like, it looks like
And it has, like, the
Fellini
most
making a horror
beautiful
film.
soundtrack to
Yeah,
it.
dude, it's insane.
That's
But
why like, I love the
Argento's
memes about like when it comes to the giallo film, like like we're gonna have like this. The director's like we're gonna have this beautiful piece of music work and the lighting's pristine.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be
makes it more
blowtorching the
much more
fuck out of the
creepy.
face of this bitch.
It's
Kinda
like their
close up.
dungeons are lit like inside a museum.
Yeah, it's so
Genuinely.
bizarre. And like
It's-
there was
it's kind
something
of
about
insane.
it was like man, it was like substance over something or like something over substance because like the plot's not all there,
Right.
but like it's very beautifully shot and like
Scenery over
and
substance.
it's
or
very
something.
like peculiar. Like Maxine had a lot of
Eerie.
giallo.
Oh, yeah, for
influences.
sure.
What about the style of like Hostel?
Hostel?
Well,
Oh,
that
just
comes
like-
into like the Saw kind of
It's
subgenre.
like torture
the
porn, I guess.
Torture,
Like-
horror.
Torture.
Yeah, like Saw, and that was very popular in the early 2000s. Like
Yeah.
Saw, like
I didn't like Saw, but I like Hostel that they would
Hostel.
pay. They
I
would,
like Hostel. I like
they would
Saw.
pay just to experiment with the people.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was like
It's
rich
really
people,
impressive.
rich
It
people
was-
paying money to torture people.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good-
Oh yeah, was that the one where like people get like locked in rooms
Yeah.
and then they'd like go and like cut their Achilles heel or
And
something like
So
that?
they
what's his
won't leave.
face?
Yeah.
Man, I forget his name. He comes out and Glorious Bastards and
Oh, Eli Roth.
Eli Roth.
Eli
there you go,
Roth
yeah.
is another big.
Yeah. I still want to see Thanksgiving. I still haven't fucking
fun
seen it.
movie.
Yeah.
I've skimmed through
We'll
it.
watch it for Thanksgiving month.
Well, we're doing War Month.
Oh.
But yeah, I all to say that I think Sam Raimi really fueled the subgenres of horror.
Yeah.
And I think The Evil Dead is part of that conversation for sure because we can kind of categorize it as this B horror kind of splatter film. But at the same time, he created or at least reused a lot of really good techniques to make it something that was going to stand the
and
test of time, right?
And then it's very stylized.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's very because like
a lot of you guys were talking about the camera movements a ton, like the upside down one. We're starting
like,
here
I
and
think
then
you
we
even
end up
started
over
mentioning,
here.
man, how many
like, it was-
angles do you need
Oh
from
yeah,
this one
like
shot?
I
Yeah,
at
it's
the
a little
very
different.
opening, I
But
was
see, that's just his style.
From
like-
here, like to here, like
yeah, I was like saying
then, like, when
like
he
how
really
many
goes-
angles can one man do? Like
and then when he goes really crazy, it's almost towards the end when he's by himself, like Ash, when like the camera all of a sudden like moves over his head.
You know,
Yeah,
I-
yeah.
I like those.
I like that.
I
Don't
fucking
get
love.
those.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
I'll
I
touch
like
I'll touch up on that for a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that at
Cinematography.
first I didn't understand it. Like it took me a minute to kind of like grasp because at first I'm like, dude, this is pointless. I even made a comment to you. I was
Yeah.
like, how many of these shots do you think are actually intentional? And at first I was like, my God, it's and you know I never knew how
And I
young he
even told you
was.
they're all
He was 19
intentional.
going
No,
to
I
20.
never knew
Yeah,
how
you guys
young he
were
was,
saying
but
that.
I was just like, this kid's just looking for like one cool shot and then moves like without a tripod, like moves and like, oh,
Yeah,
dude, this is cool.
that's how I felt.
One cool shot, moves around. Okay, another cool shot. But towards the end, and I think maybe a reason why it's studied or something to give it merit, all those shots in the edit, what it really does is disorients the viewer. Because if you always know that like over in the left side of the room, there's that pit and it has that like the girl who's like buried underneath. you're always going to feel like, okay, as long as he stays away from that, he'll be fine. But by disorienting us and putting the camera in so many different spots and so many different angles and all that when she does pop up and grab the leg, even you were saying like, wait a minute, how many trap doors this place has? Like is it everywhere?
You don't know where you are in the room.
But by disorienting the audience with so many different angles, so many different shots, then you can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can put the actor where like, oh, somehow you walked back into it. Where if you had the camera as a wide angle, you'd be like, dude, you're an idiot.
Look,
like, why'd you walk backwards?
When you were saying that, because you were saying like, oh yeah, how many of these shots do you really think is intentional? And I was with you. I was like, I don't know what he's doing here. And then we got to that 360 shot of showing us the cabin for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really interesting. I'm willing to bet that was intentional. Like, I don't know that I've seen the shaky cam look left and right. What are we looking at? But I hadn't seen a 360, literally a 360, to show you the environment. Because you see that once, and then you kind of know, okay, this is how much space I have. And then you're going to get disoriented again. That's pretty impressive.
All that's meant to do is put you in his shoes. It's meant to be like, this is all he sees. And a lot of it's dark and cryptic and it's dirty and you're just uncomfortable. So when it's like, and now he has to keep going through that to find his friend, you're already kind of like, I don't even know what I saw in the first time. Like, I can't imagine going through that.
I'll touch on that a little bit before we move on, because the editing, very impressive.
Yeah.
He took it to basically a Detroit editing house, where the assistant editor was Joel Coen of the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
There it is.
And what's cool about that is like basically they became buddies, and the Coen brothers, maybe this was 81.
Yeah.
In 87 they directed their first feature.
One was it?
Blood Simple.
87. Okay.
Blood Simple. And what they did is they asked advice to Sam Raimi. So how do we go about making this? Like Sam Raimi said, shoot a short, make a proof of concept, take it to investors, they'll fund your feature.
Two very different, or
exactly
three very
what they
different
did.
directors.
Wow.
And Sam Raimi and the producer and Bruce Campbell fucking went and helped the Coen brothers make their first feature.
Nice.
Wow.
Because they became friends, all because Joel Coen was a fucking assistant editor on this one.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
That is cool.
And the editing,
world
I mean, like,
aligns.
who would have known that all of these locations weren't in this one cabin? It wasn't. There was like the basement, all the cellar stuff
Yeah,
was
that
in a
was like at his
separate
parents'
building.
garage.
Yeah.
Like, and then you have like,
oh, wow.
The
I
editing does
I
that
didn't
very
catch
well.
that. I thought it was in the same place. That's
In
good.
that same opening shot, I screenshotted it because I wanted to send it to you guys. We were all like, the smoke. I was like, oh yeah, they're hotboxing the set, and then I was like when you and Austin, we used to vape and the shit like
Yeah.
that. So like, they actually used cigarette smoke for that.
fuck.
There was somebody slightly off camera blowing cigarette smoke when he was opening the door. For that
Oh
photo
my
shoot.
god, dude!
Yeah.
That person probably got like so sick after the first take. Like,
It was
oh
full of
god,
Don't worry. No, it's the 80s, man. Everyone was fucking smoking.
no,
at that time.
no.
It wasn't cancerous then.
Oh
Idiot.
god, yeah.
Yeah, genuinely, it was actual cigarette smoke, fucking making the scene look like smoke.
Imagine
Practical
like,
effects. baby.
okay, now we need to smoke up the forest. And they're like, oh god damn
gosh.
it.
Can't do it, man.
God
It was
damn
just
it.
cold, thankfully, at night.
Give me some Newports.
Give me some Newports, we'll make this happen. And then the next day, he's like, hey, guys,
I'm a man now.
I'm a man now. No, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit because
Wow.
I think the editing made this film. I think
Yeah.
the
That's
editing
good
made
editing.
this film. You know, disorienting, but at the same time, timing, at the same time. This thing was 83 minutes?
Yeah, I think so. It was like an hour 20.
And now less, I think, right? Or hour 23, maybe
Hey,
something like that.
It
Austin,
felt a little long.
I have a
Hour
question for you.
25. Not even 90 minutes. 85
Not even.
minutes.
So, I mean, as comfortable as you are speaking, as an editor, if somebody gave you all this, like, how overwhelming would that be? Like every single shot.
Oh, okay.
Not very.
Not very. A little.
You'd be okay with it. It's bad. How bad is it? Where did they touch you? On the
Whoa.
palm?
On the
No.
palm?
I feel like it must, like, my novice ass who doesn't understand editing as well. Like, I just feel like so overwhelmed just by watching it. I can't imagine just on the cutting room floor having, like, again, maybe up to like 30 different angles for one scene or like one movement where like again like all the fighting scenes where they're just fighting one character
Yeah.
and they cover it from so many different spots. I mean, the only other place I've seen them use that in film is a lot of these action films when they have very scripted, very listed out beats for like fighting. You know, like you're gonna punch here, they're gonna block, then you're gonna punch lower, they're gonna bend over, reach for something, and all those little things.
I barely even know her.
I'm so glad we don't have the mic on you.
I know. No, but I feel like, like in action films, like all those scripted beats for like when you're fighting somebody, that's the only time I see it. But like for this, it almost feels like they're going to get the exact same fight, but from all these different angles, and then the editor's going to be the one piecing together.
And don't get me wrong. You can go stylistic in editing, obviously, and that's a lot of the director's choices, but it has to be coherent. At the end of the day, it has to seem kind of seamless. It has to seem intentional. And then, the editing makes it very intentional, I think.
And to add, like you were just saying, how it's all disorienting. How hard must that be, like, to make it make sense?
Damn it, Austin!
You have a cam mic.
I'm not gonna cut to the cam mic.
But
then come over here. I'll trade with you just so you can talk.
No, I'm gonna break the couch.
I'll bring the mic to you,
broken.
Austin.
Anyways,
like
it's already
Some
broken.
bitch.
No, yeah, but the editing I think is very strong in this. And who knows if the editor did
let's-
anything else?
let's take a couple of like feedback. Castro,
That's me.
I want you to imagine your
A color that doesn't exist.
A mirror?
I see it.
a mirror you can see through.
I was trying to describe it.
A window?
Are you seeing a window?
Okay. Seeing this film, seeing the actors, a lot of them are green. They're fresh to the scene.
No, very green. Bro.
How do you help them with this film? Like, what would you have offered them to get them there? Or do you feel like it was enough? Like, what do you...
Well, with my years of experience of acting, what I've noticed with the main character, Campbell, there was just no facial gesture. No, it was just a blank.
He's kind of confused the whole time, right? He's like,
Yeah, and then like you were saying, a lot of us were saying like, man, he's pretty chill for what just happened.
like, yeah, like,
See what I mean? So I think it would help to tell him like, yo, this thing is not really like taking itself serious. So go over the top. It's better to go over the top than you know.
well,
Do
I
you
mean,
think
like,
it
is
helps
that-
that he was like, he's technically a producer on this thing, right? So he had a lot to say, at least a little bit. I mean, I don't know.
No, yeah, I'm trying to think back, like back in the 1980s, like
No, and that's
would
why I'm
that
saying,
have sold it to me.
like, that's why I'm saying, like, what would you have told them? I felt like the girls were saying, if you need me to scream, I'll scream. If you need me to like trip on the floor and drag myself to the floor. Yeah. Oh my god.
Giving them cues.
I was.
Trip more.
Yeah. Like that's all I can imagine. Her direction is like, trip more. Keep falling.
Keep tripping.
Like, no, you're not tripping enough.
Show
Keep
more
tripping.
tits.
Wiggle your arms a little bit more.
Yeah, shoot it in her face.
Oh, man.
So now, yeah, I think I would come from it from that angle. Like, yo, exaggerate, man. You guys are not. You guys. I see no emotion. I see.
You just saw your best friend
Exactly.
murder his girlfriend, and now say, "I'm leaving with or without you." Like, give me something, God.
Oh no,
chuckle,
but the
goddamn.
part where like he's on the couch and like, he's trying to give him water or whiskey, right?
Oh my!
No, but like,
This
he's
guy
like,
has his bone picking up. Come on, man. Oh man.
I know this guy's like almost dying.
You're okay, right?
And then it's
you
like
can have a drink.
It's like what they tell you not to do, like when
when
somebody
you hit
breaks
your
their
head.
neck or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, don't move them. It's like,
move.
are you okay? Come on, you need to be okay. Also, yeah, no, the most hilarious thing is that long cut to him being like, "You're gonna make it out. You'll be okay."
be
And
all right.
the whole time he's forcing
whiskey.
Yeah, and and then when they finally cut back, it's still just pouring down his face.
He's drowning.
it
so
was
he's not
serious
dead.
about like Bruce Campbell because like that's one thing I was really confused when I was a kid too because I saw the second one first and when I rented the first one I was like, what's going on with him, like his character, because I knew his character from the second one.
It's more
Oh
over
man,
the
and
top.
the second one he's a hero. Like
Yeah.
he's like heroic. And he's got one-liners and he's
But in
and
this
he fucking
one-
flips his fucking double
Do you
barrel
think
shotgun.
they were like catering to the genres then? Because we're talking about the action hero, Chuck Norris,
Oh yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah,
Stallone.
definitely.
Like that's
And
what they were trying to play
and
into.
And he even took it further in Army of Darkness because like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Duke Nukem,
Yeah.
the video game. A lot of his catchphrases they got from Ash,
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
really?
like "Hail to the King, baby," and like shit like that. Give me some sugar, baby. Like,
Yeah, I feel like with this one, even with the way that the film ended, the fact that you have the evil still after him
At the end, yeah. Spoiler.
the evil's still after him at the very, very end, and it gets up to him, and you see a
Okay,
scream.
I'm genuinely curious.
I like that one.
I'm genuinely curious though. How the fuck does he get out of that one?
like
He
I said-
obviously
No,
lived.
I don't know.
Don't
Do you
spoil
want
it.
spoilers?
Don't spoil it.
I mean, we're not going to talk about
no,
Evil
it's
Dead
not
2,
really-
are
Yes,
we?
we are.
Oh, we are?
Next
Okay.
year.
It's not like a
okay.
huge spoiler, but like, let's just say that they retcon a little bit of the first movie, and they kind of remake it in the first 20 minutes of the film, the second one.
Oh,
That's how
so
they
that
get-
way they can.
But then there's a whole interview with Bruce Campbell that said, "Oh, the way it fits, because it is a sequel. It's straight from it's continues straight from the first movie, like literally seconds after what happens in that movie.
Okay.
It takes off from, and that's when the second movie starts.
oh, okay.
So they say to like splice it together after like the first 10 minutes of the second film. Splice it together. Because I think at the time, I think it might have been Universal. I don't know who owns Evil Dead 2.
New Line
got-
Cinema, I think, was the one. The
No, I think
distributor-
you might be right. New Line Cinema.
New Line Cinema was the distributors of the first one, at least. I don't-
Oh. Because the second one, they got a big
yeah,
studio.
New Line Cinema is listed there somewhere. Evil Dead 2, what would it be? Yeah, this one distributed by New Line Cinema. New Line Cinemas are owned by Sony, maybe?
I think it's Sony.
How long was from the first one to the second one? How many years passed?
Well, a few years. I think the second one came out.
See, then that's probably what happened with
86,
Campbell. He probably got a
87.
little bit more experience, a little bit more
yeah.
confident.
Huh?
Rosebud.
I haven't heard that name.
Rosebud. Yeah, and then Army of Darkness came out, what, like 93, 90?
That's what they shot
Something like that.
They shot on something like this, a 16mm camera, except they probably shot on Super 16.
Super 16, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but basically, just nice.
Come
Yeah,
on,
you know,
baby.
$50,000 back in the day.
Yeah.
Make love to the camera.
Evil Dead, ladies and gentlemen.
Evil Dead,
Fuck
the one
yeah.
that started some of the genres, subgenres.
Some of the subgenres, I think. I'm willing to bet.
Eric, what do we have coming up next week?
Here. Watch this.
Oh, me?
Oh, it was
Yeah.
you did.
Oh,
I thought you
There
were.
was.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, what's
Oh
up
wow,
next week?
what the hell?
Dawn of the Dead?
Lens, man.
No?
Why don't we have this?
What's next week? Oh,
should shoot
Hereditary.
something on
Yeah, there you go.
We're going to talk
But
about.
wait. Aren't we talking like, isn't this like the last episode?
That's what she does,
No.
right?
Isn't
No,
this
no,
the
no.
Halloween episode?
We're
It
we're
can
just
be.
no,
No, we
no,
can't.
no.
Because.
No.
I'm
It's-
going out of town.
Yeah.
So what is the Halloween episode?
This is just next in line. So
Yeah.
next week is
Mr. Michael Delos.
Mr. Michael Lillo's, Ari Aster's Hereditary.
Oh,
if Wes
dude.
Anderson did a horror movie.
I think that's the last movie
well,
that's
This is
been.
the lens.
Oh my god.
Hey, can you stop playing with the camera and let's end this?
Oh,
Wrong
yeah,
people to be telling that to.
Yeah, no, it is coming out on audio.
What?
You using the motor?
Makes it more cinematic.
No, it doesn't. People are just gonna be like, I can't hear
I
him.
hear whirling. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Ari Aster's Hereditary. Mr. Michael Lillo's pick. I think again we've talked. You've heard us talk about elevated horror a lot, and this is where it's coming back. A lot of the auteurship is coming back in horror in our generation, like right now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to talk about
I
how
think-
Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, these guys were the first ones to come out and do something special again.
Yeah.
For cinema.
I definitely think it's we've talked about a lot of classic horrors and we've talked about defining the genre. And that's
Yeah.
really important to the conversation of cinema is films that'll define genre, define
At that
elements.
time.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then now we're talking about something that's reinventing it
Yeah.
and if anything like now I'd say pushing the medium forward.
Absolutely.
Like what else can we do within this genre?
I mean,
And,
as pretentious as I am, and as much as I live on the Criterion channel, when the Midsummer Blu-ray came out, it was so beautiful. I had to get it, and I love Midsummer. I think Midsummer is my favorite Ari Aster. Bo is afraid to close second. I think Hereditary might be my least favorite of his.
I think Hereditary is
That's
like the most
interesting.
the last scary movie that.
Like,
Yeah, I haven't seen something scary since Hereditary.
okay,
Yeah,
I
me
mean, he branched out into other genres to an extent, but like that Midsummer Blu-ray, that comes with a booklet, and that booklet's
the
forward.
A24 special.
Yeah, the A24 one. That booklet's forward is made by Martin Scorsese. And Scorsese is basically going off on like, horror is the new jam. You guys should pay attention. These
Yeah.
motherfuckers are doing something special. Like the studios aren't picking up on shit, but the A24s are letting these guys like
Yeah.
say something with cinema.
Yep.
And it seems like that
Big fan,
seems to be
A24.
living right now in horror. So that's what we'll get into. I think, Hereditary really was one of the big kickoffs.
It's his first feature, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he made.
First.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Whoa.
First feature.
That's
Yeah.
his,
And then
knocked it
he
out
has like
Freshman
the
feature.
That
strange
crazy
thing-
short
The strange thing of the Johnsons.
of the
or
Johnsons.
something.
Yeah.
We
That's
should watch that before watching.
That'd be interesting. I haven't.
It's like 20 minutes, right? It's not that
Huh?
long.
Is it his swan song?
No, can't be a swan
His
song.
first film?
That's always your joke.
Oh,
Just
his
laugh.
swan song.
I know.
Tune in next week. We'll be talking about Hereditary, and then we're gonna end
better.
the week with I don't know what yet.
Just do it.
Mr.
I
Costro's
love that
picking
movie.
something. Yeah, great.
I
film.
don't know what yet.
But yeah, I don't know.
But
We'll
it's
see what Mr.
coming.
Castro picks for the last
I'm gonna get you
closing.
something scary.
And if I'm not
Real
mistaken,
scary.
hold his ass to it. Mr. Sanchez here said he's going to be joining us for the rest of the episodes for Halloween for Spooky Month.
Yeah.
So make sure he's around. And if he doesn't and he bails for some reason, point and laugh and make fun of him and comment.
Well, it depends. What are the movies lined up?
Hereditary.
Hereditary and whatever Castro picks.
Dawn of the Dead
Actually,
or
he
28
did
days
tell me
later
what
or
we're
something
doing.
like that.
How many more movies
He
we
told me
got?
what he really wanted to do.
Well, he just said Dawn of the
Two
Dead.
more.
No, no, Halloween
Just the
Town.
Yeah, because we already did
Oh
two.
man, I love Halloween.
Oh, no,
Town.
we have 5 horrors, right? We have 5 horror films this
We have
month?
5 horrors?
4, my friend.
Just 4, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just 4 movies?
Yeah.
The whole
Weeks
And
in
then we're going to go
October.
into War Month, which is the
What
real
about like
horror.
a little bonus?
In November.
No. Just somewhere in between.
So like a bonus episode? I don't know. I don't know if we'll have time, but let us know if you guys want that. We may be coerced.
Do it. Just type.
Before we
Like,
have Shark Fact number 72.
Did you know that sharks,
always with the sharks.
unlike Ash versus the Evil Dead, can't make horror films because they're on land and they're in water?
Somebody asked me today. They were
That's
asking
a
me, "What are you guys covering on the
Sharknado
podcast?"
fan.
By the way,
Hey,
I got
good
like
day.
a lot of Instagram like messages saying like, "Yo, are you guys covering it? Are you guys covering it?" So yes, we're covering it.
We're
Good
finally
shit.
doing it.
You guys were excited for this episode, so you better blow it up.
Which one?
The Evil Dead.
Evil
People
Dead.
were like
Oh,
messaging
shit,
me because they
nice.
saw my post and they were like Oscar, shout out to Oscar and Kat and I don't know who else. Like they were like excited. Anthony and Mark, all these guys. Like, are you guys covering it? Are you guys covering it? So here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Evil Dead
And Rosemary's Baby, too.
Yeah,
I
Rosemary's
feel like
Baby.
this was very much a conversation about the larger conversation. I'm sorry, that sounds stupid.
No, sure.
No, my sentence. But this is a bigger conversation on Sam Raimi as a director and also the horror genre.
Yeah.
I mean, for Evil Dead, I think it's just one of those that's super fun.
Meg's a lucky gal.
And that's when I'm sober. No, I think it's very fun. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a great movie to watch with like your buddies. Just crack open a couple of beers and then just chill out at a party.
Yeah.
I don't know where to place it.
You know
honestly-
what I will say is, I really didn't like the stop motion effects.
You know what I thought when that was
threw
happening?
It off,
You know what I would thought though?
but
I
that's
was
the only way
like,
they could have done it. I know.
I thought immediately. I was like, I bet fucking Tim Burton creamed in his jeans when he saw this film.
Really?
Think about it. That's he uses that in every picture.
I
as a stop
love
motion.
stop motion in any movie, even like
Yeah.
in the first Terminator. Like,
Oh yeah.
No, Indiana Jones.
Like, it's when the skeletons like walking towards it because it makes it look more robotic. But yeah,
Or Indiana Jones, the face melting.
yeah, fuck yeah. But it's not even stop motion. That's an actual face.
Oh
melt.
yeah, they use the
I think
guess,
it's good.
I gotta go back to the 80s,
Jason
right? To
and
really
the
appreciate it.
Argonauts.
yeah, Jason. But that was the first 3D effect. Jason and the Argonauts.
It's still stop motion, wasn't
No.
it? Like the
No,
The
it was
skeletons?
the first computer-generated graphics for cinema.
liar. Those
Bet
were real
money.
skeletons.
Like the fucking the stained glass windows jumping
Google
off
it.
the walls and shit. That whole thing, all of that, dude. The-
No. I'm talking about the skeletons.
That's why they were
Really?
3D generated. Yes, they were computer generated.
No way.
Yes, CGI. First
Fuck.
CGI in cinema.
If you guys cover Jason and the versus the
I'd love to talk
Jason
about
and
it.
the Argonauts,
ILM.
I haven't seen it.
It was
but,
the
like, I really
first
wanted-
thing that ILM worked on, basically. I mean, Star Wars was like immediately after, but ILM.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways.
Cool.
Wow.
Tune in next week. We'll talk more horror cinema, and we'll see where it leads. Hereditary, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what
Yeah,
else you guys
get-
want us to cover.
Get spooky,
Stay spooky.
bitches.
Stay spooky, bitches. Good night, everybody.
Love you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ay, ya saben.
Ahora saquen las pinches
Yeah, then-
celulares.
I always feel like somebody's watching me.